Hello and welcome to another edition of Reporters. The film we're about to show you looks at how one group of refugees has been helped by France to escape the brutal grasp of the Islamic State group in Iraq. Late last year, 27 Yazidi women and their children touched down here in Paris, the last group to arrive on French soil as part of a wider welcome programme which has seen 100 people rehoused across France. Before we show you this report, one of its authors, Marine Courtade, is with me here in the studio. Marine, this welcome programme was very much the brainchild of the French President Emmanuel Macron 2 years ago.
In October 2018, Emmanuel Macron met with Nadia Murad, who had been taken as a sex slave by the Islamic State group. She is now a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She explicitly asked him to take in Yazidi women and allow them to reconstruct their lives in France. Yazidi society is controlled by men, and the women who were able to come to France are widows who are alone with their children.
OK, well, let's show you now Marine's report. And for security reasons, we've decided not to show these women's faces, and we've also changed their names.
Soma is an 18-year-old Yazidi woman. To guarantee her safety, you won't be seeing her face. In Iraq, her community was persecuted by the Islamic State organization. She arrived in France on November 2019, after many years spent in a refugee camp in Iraqi Kurdistan.
خود عراق وقتی سال 2014 داعش بسرمده قرت مالي المهم وإيران كرين قوتن قو كاتشات بنو جنات بنو اختصابت كنو وانت كو جن أما بازطة مش مالت خوي مدركته أري أم بري بنا فرنساجي العيشة من العراق نيخوش بو ديما تقول ما يعني أم تشتهمي رادينا بس ما لا خد يابا منكت دستي وانده دست بحياتها كانوا كان حياتها بري ما في ليدا ما قو يعني مش صفر ده بدين.
Starting over, far from the atrocities committed by the Islamic State organization. Soma lost her father, who died of hunger on the Sinjar mountains. This other Yazidi woman, Gulan, lost her husband in the same place. Now she lives with a trauma.
مقالكي قريان هاوار قوطة قوطة البان زارو كابون كاتشك برين جن برين زارو كشتين جن بيرو ميرت كالا مير همو قهانة الشوطان بنو ترى تراغت كرنا بلوريا غت كرن ترى بيلي دانا سرين رحمة إن شاء الله من حياتك أخوش فرنسا درباس
Gulan is 41 years old and has 9 children. Her 3 oldest are adults and stayed in Iraq. Gulan and Soma were able to come to France thanks to Nadia Murad's campaigning. The Yazidi woman was enslaved by the Islamic State organization and later became a Nobel Peace Prize laureate. In October 2018, Emmanuel Macron promised her that the French state would offer assistance to her community. Since then, over 100 Yazidi people have found refuge in France. The program is reserved to widows and their children who are still minors.
Là, on va à la préfecture pour récupérer les récépissés.
Baptiste Chauveau manages the settling of families in eastern France. For over a year, he's been by their side as they go through an often complicated administrative process.
C'est ce qui va permettre d'ouvrir leurs droits, par exemple à la CAF pour avoir certaines allocations. Ça va être à la sécurité sociale. C'est un document qui équivaut au papier d'identité, donc très important. C'est plus que symbolique.
These women grew up in a patriarchal society and are illiterate. Baptiste Chauveau goal is to make them as independent as possible.
Je fais souvent des blagues. Bon, il y en a qui marchent, d'autres moins. Donc là, c'est un récépissé qui est valable pendant 6 mois. Elles sont contentes. Vous êtes contentes?
Each family gets an apartment, public housing made available by the association. Nevertheless, some would rather live all together, even 3 months after their arrival. This community lifestyle isn't usual in the neighborhood, which can be a problem for some.
Hier, ils ont fait le bruit jusqu'à minuit, 1h du matin.
Faut pas hésiter à les frapper, à dire que vous n'êtes pas content.
Je l'ai vu, j'en ai parlé.
Ouais, d'accord.
Pour le bruit, j'ai fait le geste, mais c'est pas évident.
Ouais.
Mais bon, c'est un peu normal aussi, parce qu'en fait, dans l'histoire, ils n'ont pas de meubles. Donc, ça, on entend, ça résonne vachement.
Ça résonne, effectivement.
Mais je lui dis,
il faut qu'ils fassent attention.
C'est pas du bruit, c'est simplement, ils parlent fort. Voilà.
Because of the neighbors' concerns, Baptiste Chauveau decided to organize a get-together, an opportunity for everyone to get to know each other, even with a language barrier.
Elles viennent de villages en campagne, dans des grandes maisons de plein pied, et elles ne sont pas forcément habituées à avoir des voisins proches. Là, elles se retrouvent dans des quartiers, en immeubles, avec des voisins très très proches.
Au départ, on était un peu réticents parce qu'on ne savait pas. Ce que je regrette, c'est qu'il n'y ait pas plus de participants de notre côté, parce que, au contraire, c'est lié connaissance, elle nous a tendu la main. Et c'est dommage de ne pas lui rendre. Voilà.
Alors, tu vois, on met les mains, allez, mets l'autre main dessus, et puis ensuite on change. Au revoir, madame. Habituez-vous bien à la France.
It's a dramatic change in lifestyle. When they request it, the Yazidis can get the help of a psychologist. Abdul Rahman Rasho is Kurdish and has been hired by the association. He's based in a different city, so consultations take place over Skype.
Un psychologue est indispensable, surtout quelqu'un qui parle leur langue. C'est des gens qui viennent d'arriver dans un autre pays avec un passé lourd. Ils ne comprennent pas l'organisation de la vie, ni les lois, ni l'ensemble de culture d'un autre pays qui est complètement différent.
In February 2020, 3 months after their arrival, the children have their first day at school. The association's translator, Jafan Falit, is there to help.
ببینیم حیا ساعت 4 و نیم روز اول بویرو باش بازاروک نترس یعنی من متجوزاروک بگرین حبکی.
As they are starting in the middle of the school year, the children are involved in the school show on their very first day. They stay quiet, surrounded by the other children, looking a bit lost, just like their mothers.
Ah. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Saad.
J'avais très mal à la tête.
D'accord. Alors, je comprends. On peut avoir mal à la tête, on peut être malade. Et du coup, comment on fait pour récupérer les enfants? il ne faut plus que ça se reproduise. Il faut être à l'heure et il faut aller chercher les enfants à l'école. Parce que si ça se reproduit, après, ça va être la gendarmerie qui va devoir s'occuper des enfants.
The mothers have to go to school too. They have mandatory French classes, but it took a long time to set them up. So Soma, who's eager to integrate, decided to take matters into her own hands.
السلام عليكم أصدقائي ومرحبا بكم مجددا على قناة عربي بلسان فرنسي. هذا
Ça.
لا شاز
كرسي.
لا
شاز.
الكرسي.
شاك. يعني كمام هما بعلم فرنسي. ما هكا زلام دولتك يتبعوا زلام زماني ودولتي نظام باعتبار زلامي لالا.
It's June 2020 and Baptiste Chauveau sees the Yazidi women for the first time since the end of the lockdown.
D'apprendre le français. Ça fait 7 mois que vous êtes ici et vous n'avez toujours pas eu les cours de français obligatoires. Donc ça a pris du retard à cause du coronavirus, à cause du confinement. La priorité pour vous intégrer. Je pense que les cours de français devraient commencer la semaine prochaine ou la semaine d'après.
7 months after their arrival, they now all just received their 10-year residency permits, except for Gulan, who in the end preferred not to continue. Her children and her have requested to go back to Iraq, even if it's dangerous. The cultural differences are too big to overcome. Gulan's sights are set back to Iraq. Soma, however, is not looking back. Since our first meeting, her progress in French has been huge.
Je parle français un petit peu. 20 novembre, j'ai entré le français. Le début a été difficile. Après 2 mois, j'ai décidé de commencer une nouvelle vie.
She loves her life in France, her newfound freedom. She's now looking for an internship in a hair salon, a job she learned on the spot in a refugee camp where she lived to help feed her family.
كيف وانت كتب الشغل يعني كنا شغل اللي في الحيبة العراق
جنب الشغل
هذا بخو كات يكبو تشوغون داكي همو شافا كيبون ويجي رابو شافا خدران خوكوان كر يعني بداية أكيد بزعمت بو ما جي شافا الوان كما أقول لازم أم هاتينا باوانا أو هاتينا باما خدش تلفزيون يعني أم هاتينا باوا المفروض أم خوكوان بكن.
Becoming like the French, without forgetting where she came from. Soma's dream is to one day see the crimes committed by the Islamic State organization against the Yazidis officially recognized as a genocide.
Well, that was a report by Marine Courtade and Maxime Morin. And Marine is with me here still in the studio. Marine, since that filming, do you have any more information about Gulan and her family who wanted to return to Iraq?
En fait, Gulen a exprimé le souhait de
Gulen asked to return to Iraq back in January, but then the coronavirus lockdown kept them from being able to leave. The lockdown is over, but the Iraqi borders are still closed. So for now, she's waiting it out here in France.
And how can we understand or begin to understand the Islamic State group's determination to eradicate this minority people?
The Yazidi religion is monotheistic, or has the belief in one God, and it gets its inspiration from Zoroastrianism from ancient Persia. For the Islamic State group, the Yazidis worship the devil, which is why they persecuted them. Today, the trauma of that is palpable. People speak of a genocide, which is Nadia Murad's fight. And you can feel that traumatism from one of the women we spoke to.
Une de nos personnages qu'on a pu suivre.
Yazidi زاني چا Yazidi دينكي نجا لكن هموم أم شان هموم مليونك نينن هموم مليونك نينن وقت قلتن Yazidi كافرين Yazidi بس أفتشنينا يعني أم نكافرين وان أو فكرة كلن أم Yazidi مكافرين أم تبيسن يعني وكا أو تفكرين ما بكو شنو ماش دنياي خلاص كن يعني ما هموا ببنو ماش دنياي خلاص كن ما بحاولي ينسى ديني خو وهكا بكو جن يعني أو حساب كن ممكن تاكينا هيلن بس لا باش بو هناكش ما يعني نيفيجا فلتين.
And Marine, today, how does the land lie in this pocket of northern Iraq where the Yazidis come from? Will they ever safely be able to return there?
En fait, la situation en Irak aujourd'hui est très compliquée.
The situation in Iraq is very complicated. There is the coronavirus, which was relatively well contained this spring, but now cases are skyrocketing. People say there's an increase of 600% in the number of cases. Hospitals are full. There's also a major economic crisis. The poverty rate is increasing, and then there's the security situation. In June, Turkey bombed northern Iraq. They continue to target and track members of the PKK. The women we met are from these villages. They've been following the situation there closely and with much concern because their families and friends are still there.
De la famille ou des proches qui vivent dans ces villages aujourd'hui.
Okay, Marine Courtade, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us here on France 24. And that's it from the reporters team here on France 24, but do stay tuned, there's more world news coming up.